scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize. Which side are
The old
you
bitch is
on?
dead.
Which side are you
Finally, she's dead.
She fucking croaked, bro.
Great. It's like wild, actually, how fucking dead she is.
She's so dead.
Like, it's super dead.
She's in the ground.
Yeah, no, for sure.
X's for eyes and everything.
Yeah, no, yeah.
She was 96, so like it was bound to happen, anytime. But
Yeah. I was getting worried, though, that she wasn't gonna.
I was getting worried that they were just gonna like Weekend at Bernie's her for the rest of forever.
Yeah, for sure. Just like constantly. Yeah.
So, now it's who? Charles? Is that what they said?
King Charles III, I think, is this official title.
Well.
For third of his name, I guess. Mother of Dragons.
Mother of Dragons, pedophile born, House of...
God really said queen to Ed. Like the chess thing. You know what I'm saying?
That was good.
No, apparently not.
I just don't know chess.
Yeah. When you're announcing a move, you say like rook to F7 or whatever, because
they're letters.
Yeah, because it's like a grid.
I did watch what was that fucking chess show? Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit.
Great show, but I was kind of just more focused on Anya Taylor-Joy's face and body.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You are gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, good show. Wish chess was real. That'd be really cool.
I know.
Wish it was a real game.
Yeah, I wish British people were real.
I also wish that, yeah. Like, all this LARPing is really fun, y'all, but, like, we need to worry about, like, real things.
Yeah. Like, it would be cool if there was a real monarchy and, like, a real queen that actually really died, but...
Truly.
This is all just for funsies.
It's just pretensies, yeah.
Yep.
For sure. Hundo. All right. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and do the thing. Do the thing that we're here for. We're talking about fucking landlords today, brother. And why they're bad. Why they shouldn't exist for the most part. At least I don't think so. And I don't think Phoebe does either. So, landlords are stupid. And most...
The end.
That's it. Yeah, that's my whole essay here. And most humans realize that they are parasites to society. However, this leads one to ask, where does the concept of a landlord come from? And why has it persisted up to our present day?
I have asked myself that.
Have you?
Yes.
You ever get an answer?
No. So today's the day.
Today's the day. Being the on-staff historian here at Remarks, I did what I do best, which is look into some real obscure shit on the internet. It is believed by scholars and anthropologists that humans have always had an attachment to land in the sense of territory and safe region or like safety. Like
sure.
You have your spot that is safe, kind of a thing. Humans being animals, it makes sense that we would like to have a chunk of geography where we could hunt and gather without fear of other tribes and groups of people. This, however, wasn't really individual ownership of land, but like more tribal or group ownership of the land. Again, nobody really had like ownership over the land during this time in more like ancient societies, hunter and gatherer societies. Ownership isn't even the correct word because people of this time typically held more of a spiritual connection with the land itself. There was a huge amount of tribes and groups of people. So, of course, like the specific beliefs of all of them vary. Like you can't say like an overarching general statement that like all tribes were like spiritually connected to the land or whatever. But a lot of them were. On average, people saw land as more of a gift from a higher power or a spirit and less as a commodity. This, however, would change. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think we should go back to that,
I mean, the planet would be not dying, so that would be neat.
Well, and you would think, too, that, like, Christian conservative people would want to like keep the planet nice since they believe that like it's like a gift from God.
Yeah, right.
But they're usually the ones that deny that like the planet's dying.
Yeah.
Because like capitalism is also a gift from God.
Exactly.
So,
I was gonna say, yeah.
Like if God didn't want the planet to die, he'd just like, snap his almighty fingers.
Yeah. The planet was a gift from God for us to exploit.
Yeah, no, you're so
resources.
right. You're so right, yeah.
Yeah.
With the introduction of farming and societies, or farming societies being set up around agriculture, we begin to see the idea of property and at least occupation of land take a larger importance among groups of peoples. Again, this, of course, I'm condensing a lot of anthropology and history into this short podcast segment, but so it's not gonna it's not gonna cover everything, of course. Mm-hmm. But basically, along with farming and territory, rulers began to be a thing as well. The transition from land being owned by a god or gods to the land belonging to some kind of godlike king wasn't too big of a transition at this time, especially if you believe that like the ruler of your area was like anointed by God. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yet it held big implications for the humans of the time. It's no surprise, but power, wild concept, corrupts people. And when you have somebody who rules an area or owns land, the land begins to be seen as a commodity to be used for economic and political gain by those in power. Throughout all of history, there have been philosophical debates about who should control land. Private and public ownership were debated as far back as Plato and Aristotle. Big spoilers, shouldn't be owned by either, I don't think. This brings us to the earliest forms of landlords, which is mainly thought in academic circles to have been formed around the system of feudalism. Yep. Yeah, feudalism. Woo! Fuck yeah, brother. Hi, Moonshine. How are you? Moonshine's being cute.
She made her way in.
As she always does. The definition of feudalism: a dominant social system in medieval Europe in which the nobility held lands from the crown in exchange for military service, and vassals were in turn tenants of the nobles, while the peasants, valens or serfs, other ways of saying that, were obliged to live on their lord's land and could give homage, labor, and a share of the produce. Yeah, the share of the produce, notionally in exchange for military protection. Mm-hmm. So pretty run of the mill. You live on this land, we protect your ass from like invading armies. Yeah. But you have to give us a fuck ton of your product that you fucking farm.
Yeah.
This form of social system dominated from the 5th to the 12th century and still has lasting effects to this day on the way we see property and the ownership of that property. Yeah. Word up. The term itself was coined in the 17th century, which I think would be the 1600s, if I'm going off of the...
I think that's correct. That always confuses me.
Yeah, I fucking hate how they like have it different. Yeah, I think it's the 1600s. Long after the heyday of feudalism, in the years following the fall of the Western Roman Empire, rulers and conquerors began ruling and conquering, as they do. Crazy. This caused a lot of political splintering to take place, with a few exceptions like King Charlemagne. Not many rulers were able to unite the region under like a single rule. So this is where you saw a lot of like, I guess kind of like your typical medieval like thoughts of like, oh, this like other kingdom's army is going to come in and like fuck up our village and like seize our castle and all this shit, you know? Mm-hmm. The main gist is that the local lords and administrations of the area would be in control of that land, and the peasants/vassals that worked the land would offer protection in return for services and portions of their crops and resources. Similarly to how not every tribe believed the same thing about the land, not every region had the same agreements with lords and rulers, so it kind of depended on where you were at.
Sure.
But this is, and I should mention here too, this is primarily like a Western European kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
At least like when it originates, that's kind of where it's at. So yeah, you kind of get like a lot of the Game of Thrones-y kind of shit.
Exactly, right.
Like, yeah, whack shit like that. Sorry, it's just kind of loud. Word. The term used for the land that was being controlled was called a fief, I believe. F-I-E-F.
Fief.
A fief. The serf or the servant of the fief would often take an oath of allegiance to the Lord to work the land in return for military service if the Lord called upon them for battle. And of course, like the crops and stuff, but primarily, but a big part of it also was military service.
Okay.
Yeah. So nothing like bribing people into being in the army.
Yeah.
Very.
That doesn't happen anymore.
I was gonna say, I'm so glad we left that back then. Like, we're so like we've progressed so much.
Yeah, since the Dark Ages.
Exactly. Love it. Shit. Here. Wait, no, fuck. I'm all over the place, guys. Today, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Oftentimes,
got mic stuff going on.
it's just I was helping our number one podcast fan, Emily, record a song, so it like messed up my like levels and stuff. Oftentimes, the peasants were called serfs, as we've established, and would be considered property themselves and could be bought and sold along with the land, which is always fun and good.
Yeah.
Because
slaves.
So this is, and that's what they say, like in the articles I was reading. They're like, this is how it differed from complete slavery, because they did get to keep some of the things that they produced. But in essence, it was just a form of like economic slavery.
Yeah.
Like you're a serf, in the medieval times. You know how to grow like 3 things, and you grow them on your little plot of land they allot to you. And then it's like, okay, like, what are you going to do? Like, someone comes and conquers, or, like, you're sold to someone else. It's like, well, you got this. This is where you grow your shit, right? Like, you can't really, like, go somewhere else. I guess you could. I guess you have the freedom to just, like, pack up and leave if you want. But, like, are you going to go to, like, another kingdom, and then they're going to do the same shit to you,
Exactly.
Like, it's all
hey
just...
guys, can I come in?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's all the same. Strangely enough... Yeah, I guess kind of strangely enough, as the Black Death ravaged through Western Europe, it caused feudalism to begin to decline in that region, but it actually did begin to increase in Eastern European countries. This is where you get like your Ukraine and your like Russia and all of those areas, like Prussian areas of, and like they had feudalism long after it was abolished in like the West, I mean, that's one of the reasons why like the Bolsheviks like killed the fucking Tsar was because the serf, like, he treated the serfs so bad. Here's a quote from the Golden Wiki website. Those who formulated the concept of feudalism were affected by the search for simplicity and order in the universe associated with the work of Nicholas Copernicus and especially Isaac Newton. Historians and philosophers were persuaded that if the universe operated systematically, so too must societies. In the 16th century, some students of the law and customs of the fief declared that feudal institutions were universal and maintained that the feudal system had existed in Rome, Persia, and Judea. The philosopher Giambattista Vico, I don't know, Italians, considered the fief one of humankind's eternal institutions. So this is like kind of a weird part, but I was like getting into it, the weeds. Yeah, they were like, basically they were saying like, okay, so the universe like works systematically, like we know like fucking gravity exists or whatever,
operates on like laws, and, like, the law of physics,
blah blah blah. So they're like, so obviously societies also have to operate that way. So if feudalism is what we developed in Western Europe, then obviously every other country and every other culture must also have developed under feudal systems.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, only makes perfect sense. And, it's not like the cultural and geographical situations of different places affect how they develop as a society.
Not at all.
Not at all. Pretty dumb, but also a very classic Western mindset.
Absolutely. Yeah, being like, well, we did it this way, so obviously that's the way it should always be done and the best way to do it, right?
Right. It's like fucking Ancient Aliens, like how they're always like, the pyramids are these massive things. There's no way that primitive societies could have created them, so it must have been aliens.
Exactly.
It's like, just because white people couldn't do it, like, doesn't mean...
Yeah, they can't possibly conceptualize that, like, something that happened outside of, like, London isn't, like...
Oh, fucking London, yeah.
London.
London. Yeah, I know, like, that there was... Because, like, ancient Egypt is fucking rad to, like, learn about.
Oh my gosh,
because they were so fucking advanced for their time.
Exactly. Well, but that was because of the aliens.
Yeah, no, you're so right, actually.
Smart.
Yeah, not because they like just figured shit out.
Yeah.
But I mean, on another note, yeah, listeners, if you want to look into some like interesting shit, look into like the fucking way that like ancient Egyptians were able to like track stars and like moon phases, and they like had their own, like they were developing calendars and like systems of like pretty much like all this crazy stuff that they were just learning from just looking up at fucking the sky. Like, it's crazy. Fucking insane, love. Adam Smith, the father of capitalism, our boy, big fan, friend of the pod, big fans of you, Adam Smith. I actually don't have that much beef with Adam Smith because like he's just a dude like writing down some shit. Like he didn't know what was gonna happen.
Right,
like
it's not really his fault.
Yeah. He characterized the feudal system as a stage of social development because of its lack of commerce and use of semi-free labor. So he was saying, like, it's a stage in, like, the social development of capitalism, but it's not, like, the end point of it because it's, again, semi-free labor and it doesn't have, like, commerce as much because you're donating most of, like, the food you have to, like, a king or a lord or whatever. This is surprisingly similar to the analysis of a few other folks that you may have heard of. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels believed that feudalism was a necessary step in the emergence of socialism, but did recognize that other regions of the world had different systems with their own quirks and cultural idiosyncrasies. So, like, where everybody else was like, oh, yeah, feudalism must have been, like, chilling all over the world, right? Like, it was fucking, yeah, like, fuck it, we ball with feudalism. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels they had, like, developed a whole, like, hypothesis about, like, Asian cultural, like, labor exploitation and things like that. Which, again, not that, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels were perfect about everything, but they were right on that, in that area. The exploitation of the labor was, of course, the focus of Marx and Engels, and through differences, and though differences existed from region to region, the general gist of labor exploitation led them to the conclusion that it was a step in the emergence of socialism across the globe. Pretty standard stuff. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of writing on like how Karl Marx thought that capitalism was like a necessary step in the emergence of socialism, which like I guess like kind of makes sense because you have to like know that you're being like you have to like have your labor exploited to then be like fuck that.
True.
I mean, I don't know if I necessarily fully agree, but I get what he was going for. Like, because and then also like back in that time too, like everybody was talking about like the evolution of human beings because like Charles Darwin was new, and like how like, oh, we're like mentally evolving to be like into like a capitalist society and then eventually into like a communist society or whatever, which is like true, but we just never made that. Haven't quite made that last leap yet.
Brains haven't evolved enough.
No. But you know what has made the last leap to a fully communistic society?
These capitalist advertisements.
Absolutely. These sponsors that, I don't know. Yeah, you could ask them. You can ask them, be like, hey, can I have this thing for free?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Anchor is free, technically.
That's true.
You can host your podcast for free.
You're correct.
And then they, I assume, take a portion of, I don't know, like the advertising dollars.
They must.
Or just like in general, like they just take like because you're basically like making content for these platforms, and then they can like pay for the subscription fees, I guess, or like they get people to sign up.
True.
I don't know what the fuck, but anyway. Ads. We're back.
What's up?
Comes a time in every man's life where they have to choose between their hair and their penis. I oftentimes wax poetic about how I'm very scared of going bald.
He is.
And
yeah.
and Phoebe's kind of my like, what's the word? My ear, my catcher of all of my woes of sorts.
Yeah.
And so that's and then I was saying you could take estrogen.
Now you know Taylor's greatest fear.
Yeah, that is my greatest fear is going bald. I was saying you can take estrogen to keep your hair, but then penis no work all time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm sure, but not all the time.
Not all the time.
Which, like, I mean, sometimes it just doesn't work anyway, but
True. I feel like I was reassuring Taylor. He does have an extremely full head of hair, though. So
yeah, we've done the face reveals. Y'all have probably seen my hair.
Yeah, Taylor's got a luxurious mane.
I do. It's very long and
beautiful,
full at this point, but I'm just worried about the future. Like, who's to say? I could wake up tomorrow and it just is all gone. I don't know. But yeah.
We were watching a show the other day, and I knew that this person's hair was a wig. And I was like, it's a wig. I can just... Because I do hair. That's how I knew. It was super... Like, I don't think the average Joe would be able to know, but I have the professional's eye. And I was like, that's a wig. And Daniel was like, how do you know it's a wig? And I was like, because of this thing and this thing. And he's like, no way, it isn't. And then it was revealed that it was a wig. And he was like hitting me. And he's like, how did you know? I'm like, because it's my job, bitch.
Okay, jumping back into it here. So we just talked about Karl Marx, Frederick Engels, cool guys.
Classic Remarks stuff.
Other historians such as Joseph F. Strayer believe that feudalism was the precursor of contemporary nation states with government protection and the formation of large political units. I can kind of see this in a way, being like multiple different like kingdoms or, you know, lands, whatever you want to call them. But I also don't know if that's like fully true. This is just my own personal analysis, but like I feel like ancient Rome, like the Roman Empire, was definitely like a big influence on like how we organize societies and governments, you know. But I will say I think that like this did kind of come about to form like a lot of like the ideas of like different political factions and like proto-democracy, I guess. I don't know. Not even proto-democracy, but just like the seeds of those ideas. Excuse me.
A scholarly man over here.
I try. I have opinions on things. I don't know. By the time the United States did its thing, we of course had moved past many aspects of the feudal system. We didn't have a king or a queen, but we did hold on to the system of land ownership. The idea of land ownership and tenantship has always been in direct contradiction to the idea of the American dream. I feel like, you know, we talk about the American dream a lot in America and like how, you know, oh, the American dream, owning land, you know, start a business, whatever the fuck they tell you when you're like, America's great.
Yeah.
But, you know, the idea of being a tenant, not owning your own plot of land, or at least like your own section of land, and having to pay someone else to like have somewhere to live is, again, very contradictory to that whole idea. And it's becoming harder and harder to own your own land.
True.
So, but my dearest colleague Phoebe will tell you more about the landlord fuckery in our modern day.
Indeed, I will.
I would be remiss, though, if I didn't mention some of the political ideology behind why I personally, and I believe Phoebe as well, I don't want to speak for her, but think that land ownership shouldn't exist.
Yes.
So, John Locke, you may have heard the name.
I totally have in National Treasure.
Exactly. I mean, that movie is 100% factually accurate,
It is.
I believe, if my memory is recalling. Like, Nicolas Cage did do all those things.
He stole the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, which is crazy, yeah.
Next movie night, watch party, can we do...
National Treasure?
Yes.
Yeah,
perhaps
absolutely.
all three?
Ooh, a little marathon? We would have to probably get a big, like, half day to do all three of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is three.
Why not?
I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the podcast, but I used to have, like, really weird things that I would do to like fall asleep at night.
Oh, right, yep.
Like, I'd always have to have like 2 forms of audio. I'd have to put my blankets in the freezer. Just some like crazy ass shit that I used to do. I don't know what the fuck was wrong. What's wrong with me? But one of the movies that was like I was able to fall asleep to was National Treasure.
Aw, it's comforting.
Yeah, it's
It's very comforting.
It's like a
at the
warm
end
blanket.
When they get into that, it is. It's like a frozen blanket.
Yeah.
In Taylor's case.
Exactly. Yeah.
At the end, where they go in the room, they light the thing, and it's all full of treasure. It's the best.
It's just
so
a wholesome movie for sure. Yeah. So that was
anyway,
that was one of
John
those
Locke,
movies.
sorry.
No, it's okay. That's what we're here for.
True.
John Locke he was famously kind of a piece of shit for a lot of things. Bourgeois guy.
Yeah.
Did have some interesting ideas about the idea of property ownership. John Locke in the 2 Treaties of Government. This is a quote. Though the earth and all inferior creatures be common to all men, yet every man has a property in his own person. This nobody has any right to but himself. The labor of his body and the work of his hands, we may say, are properly his. Whatsoever then he removes out of the state that nature hath provided. Sorry, it's old ass English. Nature hath provided, and left in it, he hath mixed his labors with, and joined to it something that his own, and thereby makes it his property. It being him removed from the common state nature hath placed it in. It hath by his labor something annexed to it, that excludes the common right of other men. For his labor being the unquestionable property of the laborer, no man but he can have a right to what that is once joined to, at least where there is enough and as good left in common for the others, which is confusing ass, old ass English.
A little bit.
Basically he's saying like you have the right to your labor, so if you make something, it is yours. However, we shouldn't waste like. You shouldn't, like, labor for a bunch of food and then just, like, let it sit and, like, fucking rot, you know? Like, he's, like, at the end there, he's, like, it's left in common for the others. Like, take what you need and then leave everything out. Leave what you don't need for other people.
Based.
Sounds kind of communist.
Yeah, it does, indeed.
Indubitably. Pierre-Joseph Proudhon, I think is how you say. He's French.
Yeah.
Proudhon.
That was good.
Thank you.
You just kind of, any French thing, you just kind of have to, like...
Yeah, for
out
sure.
of your mouth, and it sounds correct.
Pierre-Joseph Proudhon was one of the first people to call himself an anarchist, and his excellent book called What is Property begins like this.
Right over there.
It's literally sitting right on my desk. Yeah. Begins as so. If I were asked to answer the following question, what is slavery? And I should answer in one word, it is murder. My meaning would be understood at once. No extended argument would be required to show that the power to take from a man his thought, his will, his personality is a power of life and death, and that to enslave a man is to kill him. Why then, to this other question, what is property, may I not likewise answer, it is robbery, without the certainty of being misunderstood, the second proposition being no other than a transformation of the first. Go off, baby.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah.
True. Facts.
Facts.
Hard facts.
Yeah. Basically being like, you can't really own, like, when you own and you exploit someone's labor, you're stealing from them.
Right.
The same way if you own a person, you're basically murdering him in the sense that, like, you're taking his identity away.
Right. Absolutely.
So yeah, property is robbery. You'll hear that a lot in the anarchist circles. Proudhon believed that property and possession were completely different in idea. Nobody has the right to own property, but everybody has the right to own possessions based on what they need to produce and control their labor. The free association and agreement of humans to work in tandem and share the common possessions was thought of by Proudhon to be what sets us free from dependence on capitalists as well as dependence on a state. Peter Kropotkin, our fucking boy, added to Proudhon's work by stating that the workers of the world were reliant on each other in nearly every form.
Facts.
And in ways that most commonly didn't think of. The farmers of a rural area relied on the labor of the construction workers building roads and bridges.
Facts.
And the workers in the urban areas relied on resources from the farmers, so on and so forth.
Facts.
Where Prudhomme believed that owning one's own possessions was a way to free them from having to rely on anybody else for survival, Kropotkin believed that the cooperation and agreements of communities was essential in bringing about an anarchist and socialist society. Mm-hmm. In the same way that possessions exist but property is shared by everyone for the common good, a society of people who were not subservient to a landowner or a state but only had obligations to other human beings who entered into free cooperation with one another.
Yes. Yes.
Finn.
Yes, yes to all of that.
Yeah.
Well said, Mr. Kropotkin. And well said,
Kropotkin.
Mr. First name, last naming you, Lacey.
Oh, thank you.
Since it's out there now.
It's out there. And I've been dropping my music all the time, and that's literally
exactly.
my name, so it's okay.
That's literally my name.
Come for me, 4chan. Do it.
Yeah.
I fucking dare you.
I also just, like, in our daily lives, I call you Mr. Lacey a lot.
True.
And
yeah.
so if I was holding back, you know.
Holding it all in.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah.
Oh.
That's my little spiel, as
Beautiful.
they say.
Beautiful. Shall I take it away?
Oh, please.
All right. Well, as Taylor was saying, I am the current events correspondent on the pod.
Absolutely.
So I'll be talking to you about renting in Salt Lake City specifically.
Ooh.
And I got lost in the motherfucking sauce on this one. I was pulling up another page. Fuck this guy. These guys are ruining these guys. Like it. Yeah.
You were really going full Charlie in It's Always Sunny with all the fucking red lines everywhere.
I really did.
I love that for you.
It was a good time. So Taylor, with the amount of rental properties flying up all over downtown Salt Lake City and the number of homelessness increasing, it begs the question, where is all the affordable housing in Salt Lake? And why are there so many people who are struggling to find housing?
My knee-jerk reaction is that it doesn't exist. Affordable housing.
Yes. Yes. Correct. Utah is one of the worst states for tenants' rights, with slim protections in place to begin with, and snaky landlords using loopholes to remove those protections. Utah renters have become accustomed to getting screwed over in their living situations.
Landlords being snaky? Never heard of it.
Shocking.
Yeah, crazy. I thought they were all really nice, cool people.
Yeah. I myself could tell multiple horror stories about one particular apartment building I lived in for a year on Main Street, whose name used to be a type of sweater.
Oh. I don't know, but
Argyle.
Ah, okay.
It was a literal nightmare. Every day I woke to a new horror.
Oh, God.
And Taylor, I'm sure that you have stories of places you've lived treating you like you are not even a human being.
Absolutely, yeah. No.
Yeah.
Fuck those places.
Yes. Yeah. Man, do I have stories. I should do a bonus episode that's just me talking about the time.
So ranting.
My time living in that apartment on Main Street, because, boy.
I used to live next to I used to live in an apartment that was, like, right next to a golf course. So it was named after the golf course. I'll leave you internet sleuths to find out where it was, but yeah, no, it was really bad. They kept putting on like this weird like maintenance charge that would like go up every month on our fucking like in our rent, and I was like, what is this? Like we asked them, and they were like, oh, it's just for general maintenance, and I was like, of what? We didn't have you fix anything. Right. And they're like, of the apartment complex, and I was like, but we didn't. It's not our shit that's breaking.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Yes. It seems like everyone I know has wild stories of landlords or property management companies doing things that absolutely must be illegal.
Yeah.
So how do they get away with it? All the rent hikes, evictions, seizure of property. During 2020, Congress passed the CARES Act, aka the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. Part of this act was to put a pause on mortgage payments and to put a moratorium on evictions to support those who had lost their jobs or who were experiencing economic hardships due to COVID. In Utah, before this act had been passed, there were a whopping 518 evictions in Utah per month.
Oh, geez.
Per month!
And when did that get passed?
In 2020.
Oh, well,
So,
I mean, yeah. So
prior,
that was like...
Yeah. So prior to this bill being passed, there was 518 evictions in Utah a month.
Jesus.
And then once the act passed, it decreased a little bit to 327 evictions per month.
I guess that's better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Like, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Regardless of the CARES Act, landlords and property management companies were still throwing people out on the street during a deadly pandemic when, for many months, a large portion of the population legally couldn't work. And once this act expired, Utah land leases didn't take long to speed evictions back up to their usual monthly quota.
Of course.
Yeah. Utah resident Dan Knighton had just lost a 20-year job in a movie theater management due to the pandemic and was struggling with a devastating divorce. And then things really took a turn for the worst when his apartment building, Legacy Crossing Apartments in Centerville, filed an eviction against him. This eviction conveniently came right after the CARES Act had run out, but it failed to follow the moratorium that had been put in place by the CDC, which I think gave another month or couple months or something like that, because they were like, hey, evicting people and then forcing them to move in with other people is really dangerous when there's a plague there's an actual
spreading deadly pandemic going on.
Yeah. So Dan was only given 3 days to vacate the property, forcing him to leave behind his items. For instance, a washer and dryer, which was the most expensive among these, and it made him hastily move in with a friend, leaving his brother, who had been his roommate at the time, to live out of his car. In Utah, landlords and property management are permitted to give renters just 72 hours notice on an eviction, compared to other states that legally have to give a 30-day notice. So,
Love it.
Yeah. 3 days to get all your shit out, get out, and find a new place to live.
For sure. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. And according to a Salt Lake Tribune article, quote, Utah is one of just 4 states, Montana, Nevada, and Idaho are the others, where renters who are evicted are on the hook to pay triple the amount of rent they owe, plus attorney fees. On top of that, they are charged high rates of interest, 24% annually in many leases, and up to 40% if the matter goes to collections. So it's, it's bad.
Yeah, well, and then that's not even to mention that, when you get evicted, it makes it really fucking hard to, get another place to live because they look at prior convictions.
You have an eviction on your record now.
So it's well, you're fucked a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, very cool. Very good.
Most of the reason that that Utah's renters are so frequently fucked over is due to, drumroll, the law offices of Kirk Cullimore. Fuck these guys so hard. I'm
so excited.
Monsters.
And I mean, that's first impressions. The name, stupid.
Kirk.
Kirk.
Yeah.
Dumb name. Yeah. Well, and just law office names in general. I'm
stupid.
Hate them.
Anderson.
Yeah, it's just what?
Yeah, it's okay.
Let's start a law office and name it something sick.
Yeah, no, let's do it.
Fucking 420 Blaze It attorneys at law,
Yes. So according to that same Salt Lake Tribune article, quote, the law offices of Kirk Cullimore handles an astonishing 45% of evictions statewide. It's a one-stop shop for landlords, from providing leases whereby tenants waive legal protections and agree to often exorbitant fees, to filing evictions, to collecting on debts for back rent, damages, and attorney's fees. The son of the firm's founder is Kirk Cullimore Jr., a state senator from Cottonwood Heights, a member of the Senate Republican leadership, and the government affairs chair for the Utah Apartment Association. He has been instrumental in shaping tenant-landlord legislation. So to kind of just go over that quote again. Mm-hmm. So this law office, basically, they write up leases for landlords or property management, mm-hmm. where tenants in the lease, they kind of unknowingly will agree to waiving their legal protections. They are responsible for charging renters fees. They're responsible for filing hella evictions. And they're responsible for collecting all of these other random fees.
Oh, good. So I just hate poor people.
Absolutely, yes.
Moral of the story.
Yeah. The law offices of Kirk Cullimore file the most evictions in the state, and the founder of these offices, Kirk Cullimore himself, was the former president of the Utah Apartment Association, which is essentially a pro-landlord lobbying group. His son, Kirk Jr., also serves on the board for the National Association of Real Property Managers, Utah, who, by the way, is hosting a conference next year at Omni La Costa Resort and Spa in Carlsbad, California, which costs over $600 a night.
Damn.
Yeah. Which I just went and looked up because I looked up this National Association of Real Property Managers, and then it was like conferences, and one of them is at this like really fucking bougie ass nice this Omni La Costa, and then I was like, hold up, how much does that cost?
How much does that cost?
And it's
and that's next year?
Yes.
Dude, let's go to the fucking conference.
Let's do it.
We don't have to stay in the hotel, but we can like stay at a different hotel and then like.
Well, I want to stay in the hotel.
Oh, well,
we don't have to pay for it. The association pays for it.
Oh,
yeah, that's the thing. Is it's like they're schmoozing.
That makes sense. They're schmoozing. Okay,
yeah.
Let's go get a free hotel trip.
That's what I'm saying. At a fucking nice spa.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Go.
Let's go exploit some landlords for a change.
Yeah. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Fuck yeah. You know who also likes exploiting landlords?
Anchor podcast.
Yeah. This empty sound that you're not going to hear anything because we can't get another ad for some reason.
I don't know. I don't know what I got to do at this point. Like, whose dick I got to be sucking
literally
to get another goddamn ad on our podcast.
Sorry to our listeners who, if you're tired of hearing us complain about it, help us figure out how to do this, guys.
True. Honestly, 100%, because I would like to know.
You could sponsor us if you have something cool and a lot of extra money, but not that much lot. Just a little extra.
You can sponsor us, for sure.
We could slide your ad into this ad spot. Now.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how that works with Anchor.
Either.
I'm sure you'd have to make a deal with them, but if you want to sponsor us separately, not through Anchor, I'll do an ad read just on the podcast.
True.
You think I'm above shilling anything? I'm not. I'll shill anything. I don't even care. Yeah. What would like an ad, like, let's say this is just a little fun hypothetical. Let's say, like, what's the company you hate the most? What'd you say? Amazon.
Yeah.
What would Amazon have to give you?
Oh God.
To like do an ad read for them?
Oh God. Fair wages and health insurance that is actually good for all of their workers, no matter the level.
Okay. Well, see.
So we know that will never happen.
That's a really respectable answer. I was gonna say a tank. Oh. Like if Amazon gave me a tank, like yeah.
Yeah.
Or like a really nice like. Yeah. Like a tank or like a private, like a jet, but like a fighter jet. Yeah. I'd probably read for Emma. Yeah, I'll sell out right here on the podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, beautiful.
Anyway.
Empty airspace, 'cause there's no ad.
Whew, it's crazy how not front we are, because we are back.
Call us the front bottoms.
Yeah.
Wait. Damn it. Don't call us the front bottoms.
Yeah, don't call us that, because, boy, we're top and back. No, Phoebe's top.
Very.
Not me less so. I'm gonna keep it $1.50 with y'all.
Every good podcast is 50-50.
Yeah.
You got a top, you got a bottom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's here we are.
That's how you do it, folks.
And I like it because it kind of turns it all on its head, you know?
Exactly.
Like Phoebe's the passionate top, and I'm the submissive bottom. You know?
Flipping gender roles.
Fuck those gender roles, yeah.
So as I was telling you, of the law offices of Kirk Cullimore. So Kirk Cullimore, he was the former president of the Utah Apartment Association, which I'll get into more. And then his stupid son is like a fucking senator and also is on this like property manager thing. So if that all seems like a huge conflict of interests, it's because it is.
Because yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But Utah politicians are no stranger to trading human rights for money. Take the mayor of Salt Lake City, the perky do-nothing liberal Aaron Mendenhall.
Perky do-nothing liberal. What a good sentence you wrote there. Holy shit.
I was proud of that one. Who is married to Kyle LaMalfa, who...
Dumb name.
Yeah. Who is a city council member for District 2. He is the owner and developer of several housing projects in Salt Lake City. Sorry, I wrote that weird. A rumor going around on SLC local Twitter has said that Kyle is involved in a development project in the Fleet area, better known to locals as the Murals, a block around 900 South where the faces of victims of Utah police murder are painted, as well as the face of George Floyd. This area has become a safe haven for locals to grieve, convene, and for those without homes to build shelter and community. The murals still stand, but ongoing talks with city council members have proposed tearing these memorials down in exchange for another high-rise apartment building, which would be so fucked up.
Yeah,
so fucked up to do.
Very cool that they want to not only tear down murals that have a lot of significance to the struggle, the working class struggle and struggle against police brutality, but also they want to displace a fuck ton of houseless people.
Yeah,
and
which they already have.
They do actively all the time.
And do it constantly, but
they want to continue that, and then it's just really cool so that we can have some more $3,000 one-bedroom luxury apartments that aren't even that luxurious. They just have new appliances.
Exactly, and your fridge is silver instead of
Your
white.
fridge has the little spout thing that pours the water. That's the only difference.
But you can hear your neighbor sneeze.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good walls.
Great walls. A couple living at Cascade Springs in West Jordan, Utah, Kaylee Allred and Hayden Findlay, had also fallen on hard times due to the pandemic. Struggling to scrape rent payments together, they were hit even harder when they were served with an eviction notice. Kaylee had received a check from her bishop to cover her rent payment, but she said that the landlord wouldn't accept this check, which is, I'm like,
what?
It's money.
Yeah, how does that make any sense?
Whatever.
All right.
And then this landlord served them with a 3-day eviction notice. After 3 days, the family, which included Kaylee, Hayden, their 2-year-old son, the baby in Kaylee's womb, and their dog, she was literally fucking pregnant with a 2-year-old. They were literally locked out of the townhome, locking many of their possessions still inside. I have no clothes, I have no food, said Kaylee. All of my important paperwork is in there, my ultrasounds and everything.
Very cool that they did all that during
so evil
global pandemic when people were not able to work. And they were just like, well, sorry.
Yeah.
We're landlords.
To a pregnant lady.
And she's pregnant. How much?
You.
That's like cartoon villain evil
Exactly.
shit. Come on, dude.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Yeah. A lawyer with the Colmore firm who was overseeing this case claimed that Cascade Springs bent over backwards to accommodate Kaylee's family. Somehow I doubt this, especially considering the townhome claimed it was evicting the family due to issues with their dog and not due to the late rent payment, which would have violated the CARES Act if they were evicting them for the late rent payment.
Well, and it seems like they really tried hard when they refused to accept a seemingly perfectly good check that was written for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only problem with this argument is that in Kaylee's lease, the only clause about failure to clean up after a pet said that it would result in a $200 fee, which the family never received. So, yeah, they're super above board.
Very cool as well as good.
Good. Another victim of a Colmore eviction, Micah Palmer, had this to say about the firm. Quote, "They're definitely not in the business of helping people or having empathy. That's for sure. It was a hard, stressful thing, and if they had some empathy or would speak to you like a normal person, that would have helped a lot."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's even worse, with a 72-hour eviction notice that gives you hardly any time to move possessions or even find new housing, many renters are forced to leave possessions behind, or like Kaylee, are even locked out of their former home. Utah has a penchant for adding clauses to already extremely complicated leases that allow landlords to do basically whatever they want. From the Salt Lake Tribune again, quote, "Utah also doesn't prevent renters from unknowingly signing away their statutory rights or prevent landlords from inserting unreasonable terms into an agreement. For example, landlords can, and do, include clauses that let them enter an apartment at any time without notice or seize any property an evicted renter can't remove from a unit and sell it to offset the rent that is owed. Utah landlords can add clauses that allow them to sell evicted renters' property."
Very cool.
Yeah. To offset the rent that is owed. It's like, fuck you.
Fuck you, dude. You literally don't work. Your job is being a leech.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Yeah, I mean, And that's the thing too that's like so frustrating is like they make it so fucking confusing for people to like you gonna sit and read through like a giant document. Like it's hard. I mean,
that's written like,
and you really should.
That's very confusing.
Exactly. That's another thing is like I feel like most people glance at their leases and like will read it, but like do you understand everything fully about it? You know, almost seems like there should be. I feel like there should be like a leftist organization that helps people with that.
There should be. I think there is, actually.
I'm sure there is, but...
And we have, like, Wasatch Tenants United.
Yeah, and they're really good.
In Utah, they're great.
Yeah, like, they do a lot of really good work, for sure. And I know the PSL does some things with... At least they were doing some things with, like, rent strikes and stuff. But that's, again, more specifically for Utah.
Yeah. But you know, that's where we live.
Yeah, where we do be.
So earlier when I introduced the Cullimore Law assholes, I mentioned them writing up confusing leases on behalf of landlords. Leases that include clauses that allow landlords to collect money for alleged damages. We'll get a load of this, Taylor.
All right,
you're going to be so bad. The Cullimore Law Firm makes most of their money from collecting debts for damages, quote unquote, well after the eviction has been filed and posted to the resident. So another victim of the Cullimore group, Nicole Anderson, was fined for an eviction due to a mistake by her ex-husband, who hadn't removed her name from the lease when the two split up and Nicole moved out. So it was bad enough when Nicole was fined $2,488 for an eviction that she wasn't even involved with, but then, almost a full year after the initial eviction filing, the Cullimore group decided to amend the judgment against Nicole, now racking her fee up to $5,367 in supposed damages that the apartment management company had apparently later discovered. Almost a year later.
That seems, again, and I mean, I know they can't literally do anything about it, but again, that seems like it should be illegal. Like,
yes.
You'd think that you would have to go faster than a year later to, like, be like, oh, hey, there was these damages that were here. Like, that sounds fucking stupid. And
like,
then on top
just now walking into the apartment to find whatever
exactly.
the fuck
like, what's that fucking turnaround time? Like,
exactly.
Fucking stupid.
Which I will tell you about how people tried to make this not a thing. And,
all right.
Sadly, we're not able to.
Fun.
So to make matters even worse, there was a hearing that Nicole could have attended to clear this all up, but she wasn't informed of this until the day after the hearing when she finally received an email from the Cullimore group.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Love that.
In the email, it informed her that she had been sent a notice in the mail about this hearing, but that notice had been sent to an address that Nicole hadn't lived at since she was 17 years old.
Good.
Yeah.
Jesus
Which it's like,
Christ.
why wasn't it sent to that apartment?
Yeah.
Like, this is the... I guess, you know, she's evicted now. So, fuck. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. This all seems too well manufactured in the benefit of the Cullimore firm to be an accident. And surprise, it pretty much has been manufactured to be this way. Totally not an accident.
Wow.
Yeah.
Couldn't have seen that one coming.
Kirk Cullimore, me. Let me have a
little drinky of Wawa.
A little sippy sip of some Wawa. So Kirk Cullimore, the founder of the firm, was the former president of the Utah Apartments Association, which, as I mentioned earlier, is a pro-landlord lobbying group. In 2020, this group helped to write and pass HB 462, which, according to a Salt Lake Tribune article, lots of Salt Lake Tribunes, quote, it prohibits landlords from seeking added damages more than 180 days after eviction. At the same time, the legislation also relieved landlords of having to track down evicted defendants to serve them notice about court hearings after the initial eviction notice, putting the burden on defendants to notify the court and opposing counsel of address changes. So this House bill said that they couldn't go back further than 180 days to charge them for damages. But then it also, they snuck into this fucking bill as well that they don't have to notify them about court hearings.
Oh.
Like,
it's up to the defendant to do that. So
yes.
and I guess what I'm so how is the defendant supposed to know? What? It's like it's up to the defendant to know about the court hearing that we're not going to tell them about.
Exactly.
What does that fucking mean?
Exactly. Ugh. Yeah. So despite this bill that the Colomore Group literally wrote and lobbied to pass, they still continued to break the 180-day rule. In one case, they had sent a bill 3 years after a tenant had been evicted.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool that the rules apply to us as people
Yeah.
and not them as a business,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
seems like that happens a lot. I wonder why.
Colomore Jr.'s excuse was that his understanding of the bill was that it did not prohibit landlords from going back more than 180 days, even though the language of the bill that his besties literally helped write says pretty clearly that it prohibits landlords from going back more than 180 days to charge for damages. Whether Kurt Jr. is a complete imbecile or just being willfully ignorant, he still broke a law that he wrote.
Yeah, no, whether he's stupid or just malicious, he sucks either way.
Yeah. In these kinds of cases, typically, and what would be fair, would be to have a hearing to prove that the alleged damages even exist, giving the tenant a chance to defend themselves and possibly escape these hefty charges. However, out of 200 of these Colomore cases in 2020, only 3 hearings had been requested. Not even carried out, just requested. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Mm-hmm. In 2020, the firm racked up a total of $751,206 in fees for damages.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
And that's how much they...
Like, total.
Yeah, so that's how much they charged people for fees?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Fun.
The law offices of Kurt Colomore are not only evil blood-sucking leeches, but they are also racist evil blood-sucking leeches.
Oh, lovely. I'm glad that that's coming into play now.
Yeah. So towards the end of 2020, a group of housing advocates, professors, and attorneys banded together to find a way to slow down the landslide of evictions that were happening at that time. One large disparity they found was that lease agreements and eviction notices only come in English, and rarely, if ever, did they see translations available. This group proposed the idea that some sort of bill should be put in place to guarantee that all these lease agreements and eviction notices must be available in English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Arabic, as these are some of the most common languages used in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
The group proposed the idea to the Utah Apartments Association, the very association that Kurt Colomore used to be president of and that Kurt Jr. serves as government relations chair for. The current head of the UAA, Paul Smith, was not jazzed about this idea and frankly was just outright racist in his opposition. Quote, "We are an English-only state. It's hard enough to interpret meaning in one language, let alone additional languages that wouldn't be binding in courts."
Crazy.
Yeah.
And it's so hard. And you have to translate it into different languages. Like,
Which, it's not even going to be you doing it, Paul.
Yeah, no, you just would have to
hire a translator.
Hire people to translate it, yeah.
Yep.
And you really wouldn't have to translate it more than once if it's the same lease agreement. Like, yeah, you might have to, have different things, added, but it wouldn't be, a consistent, ongoing translate.
It's not a grueling task.
Yeah, you'd only have to do it a few times and then have people add and change whatever needs to be changed, but... What the fuck? I don't... What? I mean, he's fucking racist. Fuck this guy.
When Smith was pressed about his feelings toward providing translations for renters, Smith claimed that it would put landlords at risk of being accused of discrimination.
Yeah, that is what it would probably do, and that's probably why...
And that's what's happening.
Probably why it should exist, and we should do that.
Yep. And stay with me here for this next quote, because it's just amazing.
Okay.
Quote, "We're supposed to be colorblind. We don't want to evict anyone, but anyone who doesn't pay rent. We treat the same," said Smith.
Okay, why do you sound like you're texting that? First of all, we treat the same. What? It sounds dumb anyway. Yeah. But also, fuck you.
Yeah, he literally used the term colorblind.
Yeah. Oh, God.
He's like, I'm not racist. I have a black tenant.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's almost parody how,
who I evicted.
It's almost parody. It's like that scene from The Office where he's like, I'm colorblind with the different shirts.
Exactly.
But it sounds like he's fucking, we're making fun of stupid landlords, but he's being serious.
But this is reality.
Mm-hmm.
Smith claimed that another issue landlords would have to face if a bill like this were to be passed is that they would then be forced to pay for translators in court. A very simple and likely not expensive service that honestly should already be something that's provided by the courts anyway.
You would think.
it shouldn't even, it honestly shouldn't even be up to the fucking landlords. It should just, the court should do this.
Yeah, because, again, you'd think you would want the person who's in court to understand what's happening if it was, I don't know, a just and reasonable court, but maybe that's too tall of an order to ask in America.
Yeah. Smith continued on his tirade, huffing that translating languages is just too difficult and confusing. It's already complicated enough in one language. Now you want it through multiple languages where words and concepts have different meanings? Now we just have a nightmare.
Crazy. So hard. It's just like a fucking grown-ass man just whining about not wanting to do something.
Yes, about like, now you're gonna make it harder to exploit people.
Exactly, yeah, that's what it truly is.
Ugh. When searching for the disparity between white renters getting evicted and renters of color being evicted, Joel Arvizo Zavala, I'm so sorry about that, you guys, a researcher working with the Utah Division of Multicultural Affairs and the Commission on Criminal and Juvenile Justice Services, it's a mouthful, realized that it would be a bit more difficult than he originally thought, seeing as the race of the evictee isn't tracked by the landlords or the courts. So he instead was able to garner a rough estimate based on the zip codes where people were evicted from. In zip codes that had more predominantly white residents, evictions were low, only 0.62% in the East Bench Mill Creek area, versus the Fair Park and Rose Park areas, which has predominantly more residents of color, had an eviction rate of 3.7%. I am very bad at math, so that I was like, I don't know if that's a big difference. But it is indeed 6 times higher in the Rose Park area than it is on the East Bench. And to put it into even further perspective, here's a quote from the Salt Lake Tribune. The East Side area has a BIPOC population of about 13%, compared to 63% in the West Side community. So you're seeing, like, Fair Park, Rose Park areas has a 63% population of color, having a much higher eviction rate than the East Side, which is much whiter, having a much lower eviction rate. So, interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
Interesting how things are adding up. And once again, the group most responsible for these evictions is the law offices of Kirk Cullimore, the very group who felt it would be bad for landlords to provide eviction notices in any language other than English.
Very cool, very cool. And then you like factor in as well that like people of color were affected more prominently by like the pandemic.
Exactly.
And doesn't look very good. Doesn't look like a good thing.
Yep. This law office, if you can even really call it that, continues to terrorize the Salt Lake Valley, preying upon people in desperate situations and banking on confusing lease agreements and a shady lobbying group to cover their asses every single time.
Yeah, no, it seems like they suck. And in Minecraft, it would be real cool to firebomb their law office.
It would be very cool to do that in Minecraft. We're going to have a fun time going on Minecraft and doing the little thing where you like chip out the blocks and you make things.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't played Minecraft ever.
That's what you do basically. You like get the resources, and you build it, and then you build with the resources. It's very fun, but you can also throw fire bombs in that, I believe.
Exactly.
So that would be a place where we could do a potential thing like that.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft. Or someone else could in Minecraft as well.
True.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Minecraft.
We're gonna get swatted someday.
Whoops. All parody. It's all parody.
Yeah, it's not serious. I can promise you that for sure. Allegedly. It's all alleged. It's all allegedly here.
Everything's alleged.
Everything's alleged.
Everything. My name might not be Phoebe. Alleged. That's allegedly my name. Allegedly, skibbity bop.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself, really.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, those guys suck.
They're fucking dick sucking bitch. Fucking.
Yeah. And that's not allegedly. That's just
true.
The truth.
That's hard fact.
That's just hard fact that they are bitch, fuck, shit, suck, ass, touch, poop.
Amen.
Anyway, well, I guess they can plug some plugs and
Let's plug in.
get the fuck out of here.
Let's do it. Instagram is a thing. You can go there and look at pictures of stuff on our Instagram, which
Things.
is sorry guys, which is at Remarks Podcast. You can go to our TikTok, which is at Remarks Podcast. Taylor, what's the things that they can do with the stuff that you do?
You can follow us on twitter.com at remarkspod. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, please. You can find my music, which is just Taylor Lacey. I write songs about leftism. So if you like hearing us talk about it and you want to hear me sing about it,
check it out.
You're in luck. Big shout out to Circle Pit Radio, our lovely podcast network.
We love you.
We love you. And a huge shout out to our patrons.
Our
patrons. We have Justin Vass.
We have Tere Soltero.
We have Emily Doran.
And Andrew Vass.
Perfect.
Firing these off, knowing them by heart at this point.
Yeah, we know them. We know them. But yeah, if you like what we do, want to hear some more fun content, you can always go support us on Patreon.
Yes.
We do bonus episodes. You'll get merch when we make that. So yeah, pretty fun.
Yeah.
Pretty fun little thing you can do.
Yeah.
Not required, but if you want the bonus,
Could be
the
fun.
bonuses.
Yeah, if you are like feeling really sad now that you know all about landlords and lobbying groups and you feel like you need to go laugh, go check out the Patreon,
Exactly.
which has funny, nice stuff on it.
Yeah, it's a lot less dark over there.
It is. Yeah, it's the brighter road that you can take, where the road like forks.
True.
And it's like really sad stuff about America bad, really funny stuff about America bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or just like random other things.
Random shit that
are
we
also
find.
funny.
Yeah. No, for sure. And you do get ad-free episodes as well,
That's
and
true.
you get them
Early
a
access, baby.
day early. So if you're like you're jonesing,
Mhm.
it's Monday morning, and you're like, I have not.
You
Well,
like
It's Tuesday morning because usually these don't come out until like Monday afternoon, Monday night. But if it's like Tuesday morning, you're like, I can't wait. Like
sweating, shaking.
I'm shaking. I can't wait for the Remarks episode to get posted. You can head over to the Patreon, listen to it early.
Yeah, calm your senses.
Mm-hmm.
Let our sweet, soothing voices like ground you, bring you back to earth, remind you to keep going,
Exactly.
and
hopefully you'll laugh at all the cum jokes.
yep, folks, there's a lot more on the Patreon.
Boy, is there's so many cum jokes, and I don't have any plans of stopping. So
Absolutely not.
the cum is just continuously
It's
flowing.
flowing.
Yeah, like molasses in September, or something like that.
Oh, Christ Almighty.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything.
Nice. Thanks for listening, and
I love you. Bye.